Hi everyone, my name is Anshul and today I am going to take you through a glorious journey of Indian Railways covering 170 years. A journey that it started from bullock cart to Amrit Bharat. In this video, I'll try to break up in two modes. Number one, pre-independence era. Number two, post-independence era related to Indian Railways. इस वीडियो में हम देखेंगे कि प्री इंडिपेंडेंस डेवलपमेंट्स क्या क्या हुए हैं इंडियन रेलवे से रिलेटेड. इन 1825 लोग विश्वास मानने को तैयार नहीं थे कि रेलवे जैसी इंडस्ट्री भी कोई बन सकती है, बट ड्यू टू द एबल shoulders of certain UK engineers, railway engineers, it became a reality when railway was actually practiced from Stockton to Darlington. Later on, France, USA, Germany and other countries followed the route. Now let me take you what happened during that time in India. In 1832, a Governor General came to India and his minutes actually of 1832, Warren Hastings. He wrote some minutes from Madras thinking about we need to have something related to railways. Then after his vision, the railway got really seen in reality when Red Hills Railway saw the light of the day. What is this Red Hill Railways? ये एक industrial railways था जो कि granite rocks को road construction के लिए use कर रहे थे, and the reason for the successful implementation of Red Hills Railway was Sir Arthur Cotton. इसके बाद 1844 में रानीगंज को कनेक्ट करने के लिए कलकत्ता से there was also a railway started for ferrying the coals. You know, every one of us know that in 1853 we had that beautiful railways entry into the public sphere, जिसको हम आज 170 years celebrate कर रहे हैं. You see, I told you that Warren Hastings and one more man who is responsible for development of railways in India is Dalhousie. Yes, the same man who is responsible for doctrine of lapse. But when we talk about railways, he was a phenomenal personality because of his visionary thinking. People were apprehensive, but Dalhousie was not at all apprehensive. He was sure that one day railway is going to give returns to Britain, and which actually happened. Now, moving forward, Dalhousie also gave the gauge system that you might have heard: broad gauge, meter gauge, narrow gauge. जैसे आपने वो दार्जिलिंग और सिलीगुड़ी वाला ट्रेन सुना होगा, that train is on narrow gauge. Meter gauge is like Nilgiri mountain wala, and broad gauge is like major railways operating. There is one more gauge which is standard gauge in which metro system is running, Delhi Metro, Bangalore Metro and so on and so forth, right? Now, this is the Black Beauty. What is this Black Beauty? In 1853, as we all know, that first passenger train ran. But let me give you something about that. 1849 में एक कंपनी बनती है ग्रेट इंडियन पेनिनसुलर रेलवेज, और उसके बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव्स के बाद ही ये रेलवेज लाइट ऑफ द डे देख पाया है. What happened in 1852, we started with locomotive shunting. Locomotive shunting is what? Engines का movement track पे without carrying the people, and that engine was named as Falkland. You know, see the map, where is Falkland situated and which countries are getting into disputes related to Falkland Islands. Falkland, why this name? Because the governor of Bombay presidency was Falkland, right? And then this railway through 3 engines, Sahib, Sindh and Sultan, carried 14 bogie, which carried 400 people from Borghat, that is CSTM, to Thane, right? So this year it is celebrating 170 years, but I must tell you there are other things related to railways in which Britain has a say. हम यहाँ पर देखेंगे कि ये ब्रिटेन का रेलवे को इंट्रोड्यूस करने में उनके एम्स क्या थे, उनके ऑब्जेक्टिव्स क्या थे. You know, the first aim for introducing railways in India is to economically exploit India. The economic exploitation is the first point which you must remember. What is this economic exploitation? the hinterland of India was connected through a network of railways till ports, and from ports to export the policy of the British, in which they tried to get cheap raw material and their extraction became possible and they're ferrying to different locations. So number one is economic exploitation, which is connecting the second point, industrial development of Britain. Britain का औद्योगिक विकास उनका दूसरा लक्ष्य था. Third, definitely, there were certain feelings of nationalism which were emerging. So to cut down them, railway became an instrument of military outreach of British. Suppose anything cooks up, so to get a quick response, railway was there. It was seen during the World War I and World War II that this railway played a big role in helping Britain. Another important thing is railway wanted to centralize the administration, the machinery to control the Indians through a centralized authority, and railway was making such thing. You will be surprised when Britain started its policy of expansioning the railways through Lord Dalhousie. He was not in a mood to give state-sponsored railways. He gave different companies a sort of leeway कि वो company आए, invest करें और railway चलाएं. And that's why railway was under loss. And in 1901, they created a railway board, which is now presently available in India, the highest body, decision-making body related to Indian railways, right? But there were also certain tendencies of British, which is like hampering India's growth. You know, Britain always wanted to create a centralized authority, and which created certain problems. Let me show you this gentleman, William Ackworth. What happened? This gentleman was a British railway economist who was appointed with a task to consolidate railways. इनका task था कि railways को consolidate करना है. और ये कैसे हुआ? इनका काम था कि एक समिति बनाए और इस समिति की अध्यक्षता इन्होंने की. And in this committee he had certain projections कि कुछ outcry public में चल रहा था that ब्रिटेन का सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट एम है रेलवेज का कि वो एक इंपीरियल कंसोलिडेशन चाहता है. इंपीरियल कंसोलिडेशन मतलब जो उसकी टेंडेंसीज हैं उसको और डीपर पेनिट्रेट करना चाहता है. लेकिन पब्लिक आउटक्राई आ रहा था बिकॉज Indians were not allowed to hold important positions. So there is sort of racial discrimination, you can think it is a policy. This man in 1921 started working and he gave recommendations. There were 3 Indians as well in his committee, and he gave certain recommendations that we need to introduce more Indians in the upper post, number 1. Number 2, we need to give certain kind of involvement of Indians in learning engineering technology of railways. And third, they uncovered that it is the profits which are getting into the pockets of the companies. So they made state-owned railway. And one important thing, as all of you might be knowing, he is the same person who said there must be 2 separate budgets. One budget for railways, one budget general budget. And it is not his idea, because in 1919 Japan did the same thing. I must tell you, Lord Curzon somewhere in 1899 said that we need to distribute railway budget and general budget separately, but it did not happen. But after this, railway budget and general budget got separated in 1924. Now what happened after this? ये बजट आपने अभी देखा होगा 2016 में नीति आयोग एक व्हाइट पेपर लेके आता है और 2017 से हमारा जनरल बजट रेलवे बजट मर्ज हो गया. So these were the certain important objectives जिसके बहुत सारे losses इंडिया को हुए. Let me deal with what are the losses, what are the problems that India faced because of imperialist policies of British with railways. Economic exploitation Britain ने किया, उससे we saw abject poverty. You might have heard about Dada Bhai Nauroji. His important iconic work, Poverty and Un-British Rule, has said very clearly that in draining the wealth from India, railway is one player. So railway as an agency became a plundering tool of Indian resources. Number 2, they have encouraged the farmers to grow more cash crops. So their cash crops, like they asked us to introduced to cotton, for textile industry, coal, steel industry, iron and steel, coal, right? So these things actually reduced India's productivity for food grains, which was the basic necessity of that time. So this is the second, food shortage, second problem we faced. Third, though Britain used as a industrial development railway, but it deteriorated our handicrafts. हमारे जो हथकरघा उद्योग थे, उनको बहुत नुकसान पहुंचा है इसकी वजह से, right? And the centralizing tendencies have muzzled down the national movements many times. National movement जो हमारे चल रहे थे, उसको बहुत बार रोकने की कोशिश ब्रिटिश ने अपनी ट्रूप्स को भेज के किया. तो ये नुकसान कुछ इंडिया को उठाना पड़ा है इसकी वजह से, और कुछ बेनिफिट्स भी हुए हैं जिसको we need to understand. Like definitely it's like a blessing in disguise. We got certain employment. Indians were employed in railways. I told you that this committee said more Indians should be introduced. A very beautiful service was introduced, SCRA, Special Class Railway Apprentice, 1927 में service आई, and was extraordinarily good service, elite service, जिसमें undergraduate program में बच्चों का entrance होता था, and they were taken to Jamalpur and then 1 year training to England. This service also continued after independence, but it got stopped in 2016. तो ब्रिटेन ने कुछ ऐसे चेंजेस किए जिसकी वजह से हमारे लोगों में कुछ स्किल डेवलपमेंट भी आया. सो एम्प्लॉयमेंट बीइंग द फर्स्ट थिंग, second benefit that we got through railways is the skill development of Indians with respect to railways. The third thing, that railways often helped us in people to people contact, and because of this nationalization, the national spirit, the Indian national movement got strengthened. Indian national movement strengthened हुआ है, इसमें रेलवे का भी रोल है. And last but not the least, there are two more things which I can probably add up here, is Britain's railway also provided urbanization. If you see Bombay, you have Madras, Calcutta, Surat, those industrial towns, they are urbanized now, even though they were vested interest of the British, but it happened. And one more thing, many people, many sociologists believes that railway also helped in reducing barriers. What sort of barriers? Samajik barrier, linguistic barrier, etc. So these are the certain benefits which railways get through Britain gets through railways. And my last thing, that railway also had certain challenges to face. What were the challenges? Fiscal constraints. Let me tell you, like the fiscal constraints in the sense, railway being the new industry, investors were not ready to invest. शुरू में लोग पैसा नहीं इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते थे. तो पहला जो प्रॉब्लम था ब्रिटिश के सामने वो था फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्सेज को ला पाना. सेकंड, पीपल वेर हैविंग प्रेजुडिस एंड ऑपोजिशन. Naturally, any new thing comes, it sees the problem. When computer came in India, people responded with a negative, no, hey, it may take us job. Now India is the largest IT hub, right? Now coming to another point is that people were prejudiced in the sense, I must tell you, there's a very famous economist, R.C. Dutt. He said, railway is a wasteful expenditure. Some people said it is very premature and unnecessary undertaking. I must tell you one more thing. People who are very scary, they are fearful. They said, for example, the Queen of England, the King of France, they were not ready to sit on the train in its early days. Why? Because they were thinking railway मुश्किल है. तो लोगों के मन में विश्वास, trust deficit was another issue which was a problem to the British. Third, the third bottleneck was like skilled workforce was less. I told you that the policy of the British was not to train Indians more in higher authorities. So that is the third thing. It created a shortage of officials. And last, being India such a vast country, we have geographical challenges as well. The rivers, the valleys, the mountains, they all created physical barriers. We have Budni Ghat, Thal Ghat. Just see what labor they have put in. बहुत मुश्किलों के बाद ये बना है, right? Now, this is the another example of a challenge which British faced is hill railways. I must tell you, I believe in 1839, Switzerland was the first country to experiment. जिसने Alps was a stumbling block for any development, whether it is a road development or a railway development. माउंटेन्स क्रिएट्स अ प्रॉब्लम, लेकिन स्विट्जरलैंड ने पहला ग्रेट इंजेन्युइटी दिखा दिया 1839 में वर्ल्ड को कि इट इज डूएबल। एंड देन इन 1878 इंडिया ने भी सिलीगुड़ी से लेके दार्जिलिंग, अ ट्रैक ऑफ अराउंड 88 किलोमीटर्स, वी ट्राइड टू कनेक्ट, एंड अराउंड 3 and 4 year 1801 it started operating. There is a very fascinating or remarkable achievement, but also a very remarkable story to tell. You know what happened in this journey? There is a man called Franklin Prestige. What he did, he analyzed that rice, the price of rice, चावल के दाम सिलीगुड़ी जो कि प्लेन एरिया है वहां पे 98 rupees टन है. But when you need to take this rice from Siliguri to Darjeeling through ferrying pony, horses and people, the price got escalated to 238. See the difference. And this railway made that possible to ferry the things in a cheaper cost. There is a technological advancement also there. The system, if you can see, if you can focus here, is rack and pinion system, right? I must tell you, initially we started our railways with locomotion with coal based, then diesel. Then you must also know that in 1925, first electric engine operated in 3rd of February 1925 from Bombay to Kurla, right? So this is the first achievement of Indian Railways with respect to electrification. Now you must connect it with the present scenario. 2024 is the year in which India is projecting 100% electrification in order to complete the net zero target of 2030. So see how the journey from 1925, it's around 99 years we are going to do the electrification 100%. Now this more incident I want to take your attention here is Kakuri train action. Earlier people used to call it a Kakuri Kand or Kakuri conspiracy, but government said the nomenclature should be right. यहाँ पे हमारे लोगों ने बहुत संघर्ष किया है, तब जाकर हम वहां पहुंचे. तो change your vocabulary. It is Kakuri train action, which was in 1925. It's one another thing related to railways. And now the Kolkata tram, I must also tell, it started in 1873. It is getting 150 years. One of the cheapest mode of urban transportation is actually this. You know, you'll be surprised to know that tram is the only system available in India in Kolkata. Earlier trams were in Bombay, they were in Surat, they were in Patna. Initially trams started with horse carrying the trams, later on engines, then electricity. But unfortunately Kolkata is the only city left with tram as a system of urban transportation. This is the horse carried trams of Bombay. You can see this, and 150th anniversary, and you can see Indians here. रुमाल फेंकने वाला system यहाँ लोग खुद जा रहे हैं. So that is the beauty of Indian Railways. आज की एक घुटी मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. Indian Railways 1947 तक बहुत मेहनतें उसने की, बहुत समस्याएं आई हैं. Just remember one thing. What? वो गुलाब की तरह खिलेगा क्या जो चिराग की तरह जला नहीं. तो जलिए, खेलने के लिए जिंदगी आपके सामने. गॉड ब्लेस यू. बाय.